What's up, everyone? Welcome to an impromptu version of DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Blake Williams, because we have got some breaking news on a Monday. Clayton Kershaw officially sent to the injured list with what the Dodgers are classifying as left shoulder soreness. Blake, this doesn't come as a surprise by any stretch. And yet here we are. Clayton Kershaw, a guy who hasn't made 30 starts in what feels like a decade, is once again on the injured list.
Yeah, I feel like we all expected him to go on the IL at some point. I don't think anyone figured he'd make it through an entire season. I'd say it's maybe a little more concerning because it's the shoulder rather than like the back thing he's dealt with before, where that's kind of the thing we probably all expected to flare up again. So, shoulder injuries and any kind of arm injury for a pitcher is always concerning. And especially when it's the ace of the staff right now and pretty much the only consistent arm in their rotation, it's worrisome, and hopefully he can come back sooner rather than later. And this trip on the IL will help him get back on track.
Yeah, there is some good news. When Dave Roberts spoke to the media, he did say he is, quote, very confident Clayton Kershaw will be able to slot back in after the All-Star break. Fabian Ardaya goes on to say, as they mapped out Kershaw's season, they were going to look for a spot to give him a breather. He's at 95 and a third innings this year. He hasn't topped 126 since 2019. So he's 31 innings away from the most innings he's thrown since 2019. This is somewhat fortunate timing for the Dodgers because of the All-Star break, the fact that they can backdate this. And then with the break, he only has to miss one start. As I said, Dave Roberts confident, quote, very confident that he will be back. You and I are probably high on the list of people who are pessimistic of basically anything Dave Roberts says, and then dump gasoline on that fire if he's talking about injuries. Dave Roberts says he's very confident Clayton Kershaw will be back immediately after the break. Are you, Blake Williams, very confident that Clayton Kershaw will be back after the break?
No, just because of the nature of shoulder injuries and arm injuries with pitchers. We know everything Dave says, you can't really take his word for it. You kind of have to figure if he says the player's going to be back in a week, you're probably planning on 2 or 3 weeks at minimum.
Yeah.
It's just how Dave Roberts is and how he communicates with the media. I don't know if it's just they're not getting it correct the first time or if he just doesn't want to tell the media or whatever it is. But I mean, I guess it's a little more optimistic that he says he's very confident in it, which is something he wouldn't probably normally
Yeah.
say. But still, it's just hopefully it's nothing too major. And Dave is right. I'm just not totally buying into that yet.
Yeah, and the good news is he has been throwing. He was playing catch today in the outfield, playing some long toss. Dave Roberts said on Sunday that Clayton Kershaw had thrown. Matt made a great point on our live show last night, just clarifying it wasn't a bullpen session. He did say he hadn't been spinning the ball, so presumably that means no curveballs, no sliders. But I have to imagine, Blake, that it's somewhat good news that it's not just shutting him down for a few days. The fact that he's continuing to throw leads me to believe that maybe that very confident Dave Roberts is actually somewhat accurate. Do you think that's like a fair interpretation of the information we have?
Probably. It is concerning that he's not throwing anything more than just playing catch like anyone could go do in a backyard. Like, there's not a whole lot to that, but it's better that he hasn't completely stopped throwing. His arm's still moving and he's getting some work in, so that's a positive. But still, it seems like he still needs a little work to get done before he can get back, so we'll see.
Yeah. In addition to the Kershaw move, we expected Michael Grove to be recalled in response to this, which he was. The surprising second piece of this was not that Victor Gonzalez was optioned, because Victor Gonzalez has been very, very bad for the last 2 weeks. It's the guy that came up to take Victor Gonzalez's place on the roster, and that would be Gavin Stone, one of the Dodgers' top pitching prospects coming into the season. He was the first rookie pitcher to get his shot at the major league level. Safe to say, Blake, that shot did not go very well. 2 starts with Los Angeles, 4 innings, 5 earned, and then 2 innings, 7 earned. He was immediately sent back down at the end of May to AAA. And safe to say, AAA has not treated him any better. In his 4 starts since being sent down to Oklahoma City, 18 innings pitched, 32 hits allowed, 11 walks, and 24 earned runs. You heard those numbers correctly. 43 runners allowed in 18 innings and an ERA of 12. I was shocked to see Gavin Stone's name here. I don't know who I should have expected if they were going to send Victor Gonzalez down, and maybe that's it. Maybe if I had looked at the 40-man roster and said, okay, they can't bring Nick Robertson back up quite yet, and maybe this is just the guy. But oh man, I was surprised to see that Gavin Stone was the player recalled here.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising, even shocking, I'd go that far to say, especially with how bad he's been in AAA. He's still probably one of their more talented arms they have on the 40-man roster who isn't on the team or wasn't on the team. But yeah, he has not been good, and I feel like just letting him try and figure it out in AAA would have been more beneficial than whatever role he's going to play for them right now. They probably could have found someone to DFA to bring up like Matt Andrees, I think it's
Yeah.
pronounced. But yeah, I don't know. It was a surprising move.
Yeah, I mean, look, Alex Vesia was an option. They chose not to go to Vesia. They chose to go to Stone. Make of that with you will. Jimmy Nelson is like 3 weeks into a rehab assignment, but clearly they didn't believe that he was ready yet. And so as you just go down, Brian Hudson, another guy that they could have recalled. A bunch of these guys are lefties. They chose not to recall him. Victor Gonzalez, of course, was who was sent down. Justin Brule couldn't be recalled quickly enough because of the max minimum number of days he has to be sent down, unless he's replacing someone on the injured list, which is how Grove came up. So the plan is then, Blake, as we record this on Monday afternoon, Michael Grove will start on Monday is the expectation. And then Dave Roberts added that Grove will pitch again either Saturday or Sunday, could be in a starter role, could be in a bulk role. Give me just your 30-second version of where Michael Grove is at. Like, do you think the way he's playing right now, is he a number 5 starter, or do you still sort of like plug your nose a little bit when Michael Grove takes the mound and just pray that he can keep the ERA under 6?
He seems like a quadruple A guy who's too good for AAA and not good enough for the major leagues.
Yeah.
He might have some upside in the bullpen with the Dodgers, but that's not the role he's going to be able to fill. So I guess that's my 30-second take is it's just kind of he is what he is, and this is the option they have, and they consider him the best option, which isn't inspiring.
Do you think, I mean, like, do you have reason for optimism if he were ever converted into a bullpen arm down the stretch? Obviously, has made one appearance officially out of the bullpen, not in like a bulk role, and that appearance went pretty well. I just think like 97 with a couple breaking balls, get him in there to face a portion of the lineup where he's going to see a lot of right-handed hitters. I could see him being effective, and when I say effective, more effective than some of the guys they have out there in the bullpen right now in that role.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. They'd have to make him a righty-only guy because he struggles a lot versus lefties. And
Yeah.
when you're a starter, you can't really do that. But as a reliever, you can make sure he's going to face 3 righties or at least 2 righties. So he could probably be effective there. But like I said, they're not able to use him in that role because their starting pitching depth is being tested a lot.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm more surprised about is they called up another righty to replace a lefty in the bullpen. So now Ferguson's their only lefty, I believe, off the top of my head. And he's their high leverage arm too behind Evan Phillips. So you're kind of limited in bringing in guys who can face lefties and get them out.
Yeah, and it's a great point because I mentioned Nick Robertson is a lefty who they could have recalled. Alex Vesia is a lefty who they could have recalled. Obviously, Justin Brule they couldn't have. But again, I mean, Justin Brule was just recently sent down. Um, I mean, Victor Gonzalez was bad, so maybe they didn't have this move planned until yesterday. Maybe because Grove is coming back up, they figured they needed someone who's a little more fresh than Gonzalez. But I'm with you. It's kind of a confusing move why it was Stone. Why not why not Brian Hudson? Excuse me, a guy who's already on the 40-man roster. He's a lefty. And if we're being honest, Stone isn't on paper, on prospect rankings, he's a much better option. But when you actually look at performance, I mean, do you think any chance, Blake, just off the top of my head, is there any chance that the Dodgers were just kind of hoping that they could that maybe this is like a shot of energy and a shot of confidence to a guy like Gavin Stone, who, if we're being clear, they probably hope doesn't have to pitch at any point in the next few days. But do you think, like, is that part of the thinking, or is it just, he probably has better stuff than Hudson and why not?
I mean, maybe kind of thinking through it here, maybe they're going to have Stone cover a few innings and then put him on the IL, which would allow them to recall Brule back up, which would probably make some sense. That's me kind of like being a conspiracy theorist for what their move is here.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. Like on the surface, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know what their plan is. maybe it's just here until a rule can be recalled. I think it's 10 days or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I mean, and maybe that's the point. Maybe they wanted a guy who could actually give them multiple innings if necessary. Um, Justin Brule was sent to AAA just 2 days ago, so we've got a long ways to go for Brule to get his 10 days, as you pointed out, unless somebody is mysteriously added to the injured list. They might have some guys due back soon. I don't know what Shelby Miller's timeline is. Have you seen anything on where he's at?
I think the last one I saw is his neck is worse than they first
Of course.
anticipated, so it's probably going to be a while.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Syndergaard available? Do we know, Blake? Can you get us an update on
Uh,
Syndergaard's availability?
I think he's throwing, and the last thing Dave said about him is he's not on my radar yet, unless there's anything new since then, which I haven't heard. But yeah, I don't think the Dodgers or any fans are looking forward to Syndergaard coming back.
Syndergaard's family probably is. How dare you, Blake? It's so
I
disrespectful.
don't know. Their mental state right now might be better with him not pitching.
Fair,
So
fair. Well, there you go. There's the news. Breaking news. Clayton Kershaw added to the injured list. Not the most surprising thing in the world, but it has been made official. He is eligible to return as soon as the All-Star break is over with. So cross your fingers, Dodgers fans, that that's what happened. Of course, because of this, he will not be pitching in the All-Star game either. So we'll see who is named a replacement. Could Evan Phillips be on the list of guys that maybe is available in the conversation there? We'll see. I would say there's a few guys ahead of him, but crazier things have happened. Victor Gonzalez also sent down to AAA. He was optioned. Michael Grove expected to start tonight, and Gavin Stone both recalled. Stone is kind of a break glass in case of emergency guy, according to Dave Roberts. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Check out DodgerBlue.com for all the latest Dodger Blue 1958 here on YouTube as well. We'll have all the content around Dave Roberts and his comments covered from every angle. That is Blake Williams. My name is Jeff Spiegel. As always, thanks for joining us here on Dodger Heads. And of course, go Dodgers.